and then live on Facebook. What happened is every time I live on Facebook, I forgot to record. So so now I have to do reverse because in the past we did not have I did not know the luxuries of the connection between like Zoom and Facebook or YouTube, you know. So I only have to recording, but now we could link our Zoom to our Facebook or our YouTube account. So now, because I have never done it before, so now I start do live on Facebook first, and I forgot the recording. Now I have to do the reverse.
Got it. So where on Facebook also are we live?
On my Facebook.
What account? So on yours?
Yeah. Usually I just live on my Facebook, and then I will keep it private for myself after. So what happened is like people will listen on Facebook more than on Zoom. Or sometimes people don't know how to get to the Zoom. So they watch on Facebook, and then later on they discover on YouTube.
Yes.
So I just live on Facebook, and then I will keep it private just because XSA will use this recording as well.
Got it.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, and it's still hello everybody. I see new faces in here. If you don't mind, you can turn on your camera, but if you are shy, you can just listen.
I'm shy actually, so
No.
I'm gonna turn my camera off and just talk.
No. You should not be shy today. Maybe the next time, but who knows? Anyway, let me do my job as a host, not a host today. Hi and hello everybody. My name is Jasmine Oan Pham, and I have the pleasure of being your MC today. So it's my honor to introduce our guest and our host for this special event. And our host today is the beautiful Chanel, and our special guest will be Jovannie, whose insight and experience will enrich our understanding of holistic well-being or happiness studies. And so, well, let's give it a warm welcome to Jovannie and Chanel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Alrighty, so Jasmine, I'm sorry. Am I introducing Jovannie as well?
Yeah, you can start now.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, awesome. Well, Jovannie, it's so great to see you.
Same.
So great to see you. So everyone, this is Jovannie. Before I get too personal with Jovannie, let me do an intro. And he is just such an amazing soul that I have had the pleasure of just getting to know personally in this program. And then we've been in a few hat groups together, and he peer coaches me as well. So, Jovannie comes from just an extraordinary background, as we all do. But when I look at Jovannie's story, I'm always just in awe. So even when I saw his intro, I was. So let me read your intro. So Jovannie Casillas, did I say your last name right?
It's pronounced, it's like quesadilla, like Casillas, but Casillas is fine.
Quesadillas, really. Now I'll always remember it.
That's how I remember it. So
and then those who love and adore Jovannie, we call him Jojo as well. So he has faced and overcome extraordinary challenges, each shaping him into the outstanding and inspiring person that he is today. His journey began with a harrowing experience at the young age of 6 years old, where he survived a tornado in Hamden, Connecticut in July 1989. And as we all know, that is uncommon for the Northeast to have it. So there goes that right there, just that nugget. Exactly 12 years later, on July 10th, 2011, he stepped onto the yellow footprints at Parris Island in South Carolina.
2001.
What'd you say?
2001.
What did I say, 10?
11.
Oh, wow. See that? Jovannie,
2000.
that just goes to show how old you are. Like, I even forget, like, there was a 2000s. All right, let me try that again. July 10th, 2001, he stepped onto the yellow footprints at Parris Island in South Carolina, where he began his journey in the United States Marine. So that's pre 9/11.
Yes.
Yeah,
Actually, 9
pre
9/11 happened in boot camp. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Join the Marines. So you actually just had your anniversary just a few days ago. So happy militant and a Marine Corps anniversary
Thank you.
there. And then through his time in the Marines, though his time in the Marines was cut short due to a training incident that led to his medical retirement, Jovannie's spirit never wavered. Despite facing personal and physical adversities, including an estrangement from his daughter, a toxic marriage, periods of homelessness, Jovannie's determination led him to pursue education and personal growth. He found solace in starting school, working as a landscaper with the VA hospital. That's Jovannie giving back, and later becoming a federal police officer. Even after suffering injuries that resulted in another medical retirement, he continued his academic journey, earning a bachelor's in psychology and an MBA. Wow, Jovannie. And then he went on to earn a second master's in happiness studies, where we all have met and come along in his journey. In 2022, Jovannie and his amazing wife, Stephanie, made the life-changing decision to move to Florida, where he then began the master's program. In this program, he discovered this program while watching TV, where it just seemed to spark a profound spiritual awakening that we will get into, Jovannie. In November 2022, he experienced a moment of oneness during meditation. And in February 2023, he witnessed the birth of his son that he only describes nothing short of a miracle. Jovannie's story took another incredible turn on November 7th, 2023, when he received a spiritual healing session that healed a neck injury that he had. This experience led him to be featured in the Beyond Belief Season 24, Episode 4 with Deborah Martin. Alrighty, welcome everybody, Jovannie, Jojo, the one and only.
Chanel, how's everything?
Good, Jovannie. Now, I just gave that big overview. Just give us an elevator speech of who you are in your journey, if you don't mind.
I'm still figuring that out, I guess, every day. I know that, every day I wake up, I've never been that person. So I just try to cultivate the person that I want to become. But yeah, I grew up, I'm from New Haven, Connecticut, originally born and raised. And, my parents are Puerto Rican. I was born out of wedlock. Mother was in food stamps all my life. And I had a very crazy childhood, growing up. And but I came out of it, for some reason. I always thought different than, my brothers and my family and my friends. So I always chose different for myself. And that's what led me on this journey, and here I am today. So right now I'm just a better person to myself because of this journey, and that allows me to be a better person to my family and my friends, and allows me to be an even better father from the lack of not having a father, growing up. I know now how to become the best father. And I get to, kind of heal my own childhood wounds, raising my son now. So that's, a blessing in disguise. So.
Oh, that is amazing. Amazing. Okay, so let's stick to little Jojo, who Jojo was born. Actually, when's Jojo's birthday? His actual birthday?
Valentine's Day, 2023.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So we were at the very beginning of semester 2, so really our first full semester. So we're all meeting, engaging. I believe that's our first hat team and everything. And little Jojo came on the screen. I remember the very first session, or I think we were in like session 3 or 4 of live sessions. And Jovannie's like just this amazing dad holding a newborn, not scared at all, no fear, no nothing. And baby Jojo has been, I think, on every single live webinar. I think he still is. And so I kind of feel like I'm auntie to
Yeah,
JoJo. I'm sure
he
we
def
all feel like little aunties and uncles to JoJo, but I feel like I think he should, just like Bella, I think he should get an honorary Master's in Happiness, at least certification, at the very least. But I love how every time you speak of parenting, it's not a job, it's not a duty, it's a pleasure, it's a blessing, it's an opportunity. I love how you always constantly reframe it. And I always look up to you when you just speak about the grace you allow yourself as a parent as well. Um, help our viewers to kind of understand where that comes from, and how we all can kind of tap into that as parents.
All right. So, you know, I have a daughter who's 19 from a previous marriage. I was married for 11 years. And in 2012, you know, after dealing with some things, you know, with my previous marriage, I felt like I wasn't wanted anymore in that relationship. And it was a hard decision for me at the time. But I had woke up one day in the middle of the night and I just heard something saying like, you just have to leave. You know, because I had bad thoughts, you know, and I feared that I was going to take my own life, you know, because of that marriage, what I went through in it. So I became estranged. Well, I left in May 1st, 2012. I left North Carolina. Um, Still paying the bill, still paying everything for like 4 years after that. But yeah, I made my way to Connecticut, where I'm originally from, just to feel like I belong somewhere, but I still didn't feel like I belonged there. It was a weird feeling. So obviously it wasn't my location, it was something within myself that I was trying to run away from, and I had to face it. I mean, I went through some dark times, and you know, man, yeah, it's been a rough ride, you know, with my daughter. The relationship with my ex-wife became toxic. So I made the decision that it was just best for me to leave, to at least give my daughter some sense of a good childhood. You know, because even though I wasn't the problem, I didn't want to add fuel to the fire, basically. So I had to make that tough decision, just knowing that, you know, she was going to be in good hands, you know, with her mom and her grandmother and her brother. I didn't want to take her away from her half brother, who's 3 years older than her, and she loves him so much. So yeah, I took my car. I went to I don't know if I dreamt this while being in the car or if I actually went there, but there was a mountain in the middle of, well, in the border of North Carolina and Virginia. And I remember stepping out of my car and just looking down the mountain, and something told me like, no, just get in your car, go home. So I did. I went to Connecticut. Well, on my journey to Connecticut, it took me about 12 days, and usually that ride is only like 13 hours. But I stopped everywhere and slept wherever I could, like at a Walmart, at CVS. I was sleeping in my car for 12 days. I finally made it to Connecticut. I was still sleeping in my car. I didn't want my family to know, you know, this is my thing that I was going through. I went to Planet Fitness just to I joined them, not to really work out, but just to take a shower and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you know, and then one day I went to the VA hospital, and I was like, look, I need a job, you know, and there was a position opening up for they call it motor vehicle operator, but it's like a landscaper slash motor vehicle operator. And you know, I applied for it and I ended up getting it. And then I stayed with my uncle and my mom in Connecticut, and made like it was a kind of like a big walk-in closet that I made into like a bedroom. And I was so grateful for that space. I mean, it was tiny, but it was like mine. You know, there I could cry. Yeah, I could do whatever I wanted to do, and you know, and figure things out for myself. And I did. And you know, it took me about was 3 years in the job, trying to fight for my daughter and stuff like that. It just wasn't working in North Carolina, with the legal system. So, I had, I didn't know what else to do. So I just said, you know what, I got to keep my mind busy, because these thoughts that I'm having are not good. So I put myself in school, which was good because obviously, the GI Bill pays, military to go to school, which is a plus. But I really wanted to kind of blow up my brain, just to know as much, because I knew like, I was missing a piece of the puzzle and I didn't know what it was. So, after being a landscaper for 3 years, I loved that job. It's probably like the best job I ever had. I was up at 6 in the morning. I'd get home at 6 at night, and on the weekends I would drive. On Friday, I'd leave like 6:30 p.m. I'd get to North Carolina about 7 o'clock in the morning, I'd see my daughter, and I would drive back Sunday to be at work on Monday. I did that for a couple of years, until I became a federal police officer with the VA hospital. So I was a military police in the Marine Corps. So I said, you know what, let me see what this can do for me. And I applied for the job. I got the job. And by this time I was going through a divorce. And during that time, I wasn't looking for anything relationship wise. I was working on myself. Then on my off days, I would work as a security guard at a club, basically. And I didn't like the atmosphere, so I wanted better for myself. And then Stephanie came into my life. I met her at work. She was a nurse, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me, was allowing myself to love again. And it opened me up to new things, so. And then, so Stephanie and I had a house in Connecticut, and then we ended up leaving. I just didn't want to stay. There was nothing in Connecticut for me anymore. We both agreed that Florida was the place. We like the sunshine. We like going on vacations, and it's just easier to get away when you're already, living in a place that people vacate. So, we made it here, to Florida, and shortly after, we had Jojo. He was born on Valentine's Day, 2023, which was, just that day alone, I just still can't believe that he was born on Valentine's Day, and that day something happened. Something else happened that day. When he was born, I was about to cut the umbilical cord, and when he came out, the doctor looked at me, and he's like, all right. He's like, I need you to be here right now. I was like, I'm here. And he said, the cord is wrapped around his neck. Okay. So when I pull him out, he's not gonna look the way that you expect him to. So I said, okay. So we pulled him out, and he was purple. And I remember time slowed down. My mother-in-law was in the room. Stephanie was saying, what's wrong with my baby? And I took a couple steps back, and I went into this deep meditation, which I learned, through this master's degree program. I'm so grateful for it, because I went in a place and I spoke to God, the creator. I spoke to him for the first time in my life. Even when I was going through other things in my life, I never spoke to him, but this time I did. And I just said, I'm learning to better myself. I'm learning about meditation and breath work. And here's my son. Like, you gave him to me, and like, I want him. I really do. So I said, take my breath, give it to him. And as soon as I said that, I'm getting teary-eyed right now because I'm reliving it. As soon as I said that, I saw his flesh just turn from this purple to this beautiful pink color. It felt like the rainbow just went right over him. And I heard him scream and cry, and I started crying, and it was beautiful. And I just, from that day forward, like, every breath that I take I just want to thank God with every breath that I take, with everything that I do. And that's why, it's not a chore to be in my son's life. It's a blessing. He was put in my life for a reason, and I feel like, he saved me. you know, every day that I have them, I'm saved. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love how you use the symbolism of the rainbow, which you prayed to God, you asked them, and the rainbow is a sign of God's promise.
Yeah.
And so that is just so good. Wow, Jovannie, there's so much to unpack in that story. One thing I hear when you speak about your story, which is remarkable, how again you give yourself so much grace, right? And I'd love to learn, how do you, because I can hear you speak of the challenges you faced, the decisions you've made, circumstances that you've been faced with. How do you maintain that grace and allow and giving yourself that permission to be human and not go into regret of woulda, coulda, shoulda's in life? How can you help our listeners?
I just go back and think about, I mean, at 6 years old, right? That's when we're just getting our egos. I was surviving a tornado. Like, I almost got sucked into a tornado if it wasn't for my best friend's father who pulled me in. But I felt at peace, like I wanted to go. It was weird feeling. I had to go to therapy and stuff like that. And, you know, other times, like I almost died a couple times, you know, growing up, hanging with the wrong people. So, you know, I always say we survive 100% of our worst days. You know, we're here for a reason. And, you know, that just, it gives me patience and it gives me faith. I didn't know what faith was until, you know, just a couple years ago, recently. I thought faith was, you know, going to church and having a religion, but it's bigger than that. That's only just a piece of it. Um, Faith is knowing that for me, everything's been done already. We've already reached the end. We're just in the process of making sense of how we got there, and that's what this experience is for me. So, um, you know, if I go at 80 years old, you know, I'm only 41, but you know, right now I'm only speaking half of my words, half of my thoughts. So I just want to have better thoughts and speak better. That's all I want to do, and teach people how to do the same. So that's what keeps me going. It's just knowing that there's a creator out there, something bigger than us, bigger than what we can really comprehend. We can't really put it into words. It demands to be experienced, and it happens by going within ourselves. We each have the same thing. You know, we're all uniquely the same. You know, we look different on the outside, but we're made of the same light essence. And you know, we feel it. You know, we're all talking about happiness, and happiness is home for everybody. We're all just trying to go home in our own unique way, you know, and getting there. It starts by first having an outside experience, and then seeing that everything on the outside is not really what you call home. It's darkness out there, but we all, each of us had a part in creating this darkness, right? But inside of us, there's this light. There's this light that we can all go home to. And we don't have to die physically to get there. You just have to die to yourself right now, to this person who you thought you were, who we built based on fears and you know, and beliefs that really don't belong to us. They belong to, you know, the people who raised us, you know, our teachers, you know, our friends, society, you know, this idea of what we're supposed to be. And really, when you shed all of that, you start to know yourself in an authentic way. And you start to love yourself more. And by loving yourself more, you can give more love to you know, the people around you. And that's what we're here for.
Oh, wow. Amazing, Jovannie. Geez, the more you talk, the more deeper you're making that tornado. When I go back to your original story you're telling, I heard pieces of Spire. And for our listeners who aren't familiar with Spire, you know, it's the 5 elements of well-being, right? Spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. And I hear you talking about it from when you were, you know, on the Smoky Mountains, you know, and you you had that awakening that, you know, of where to go, and from the physical side, just being in nature and being outside, and how you really enjoyed and finding that purpose back to S, I guess, purpose when you went back to the VA and you were there probably seeking help, and you went there and found so much more. You found purpose and meaning, and then that puts you to, you know, being on that journey of, you know, getting up early, staying late, being out in nature. You said it was your favorite job to date. The intellectual part about you just feeling an urge to just go intellectually deeper, hence your degrees, and you haven't stopped learning since. Relational, you know, connecting back with your family, and then definitely with Stephanie and what she has brought in this journey, and then the emotional. From even when you talked about, you know, other people, I shouldn't say others, some people would look at that and say, oh, all my mom gave me was a little closet for me to live in. And you're like, wow, I was given a full closet where it was a safe place for me to be emotional and cry and let it out. So it's beautiful. One thing that I know, because I personally know you, is that you have taught us how important it is to meditate and do spire check-ins. I believe you do them daily. Will you describe what that is for us, and what and how that balances you and just jumpstarts your day and week?
I think it's internet is frozen or something.
Frozen.
Yeah. And now we talked too deep that the frequency goes so deep. Okay, he back. Hello, hello.
Oh,
He tried to come
I'm gonna
up
try to
now.
re-sign it because
Okay.
okay, sounds good.
Yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
yeah, I get on a computer and
Well, that's what happens when your picture looks like, what, did anybody agree that when Jovannie's picture looks like Superman? Doesn't, I was like, look at Superman over here.
He looked really hot, right?
It was like Superman. Look at him just changing. And the people that know us, right? I feel like it's just sometimes we're so used to seeing each other, right? And we just see each other, and then we're like, oh wow, look at like it really. But honestly, I think when I think of Jovannie, I really do think of Superman, someone that can just change and morph into situations, and yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
I think when I think of
So to just let you know a secret, Ben actually retouched that picture for Jovannie. So if you want to have the supermodel or like superwoman picture, just contact Ben.
Dr. Ben, I'm gonna give
Because Ben would like,
you're on the
Jovannie
hook,
gave me
Ben.
this picture, but he would look better like this. So like in his imagination, I feel like he have the same imagination, like he have the same image that everybody else have, having for Jovannie, you know, like Superman picture.
Yes. Amazing.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you fine.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why. It always happens every time I get on behind a computer or something like that.
When you go
Start
too
punching
deep.
out. Yeah. So, all right. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Wonderful. Yep.
All
So
right.
did you hear me? My question was about your spire check-ins. Did you hear that part, or did I lose you?
No, it kept it was choppy.
Okay, so I was just sharing with the audience how like your story, I just could pull out bits of spire from every single part of your journey. From the spiritual and purposeful part about you going back to the VA hospital and finding purpose in that job, and even outside experience in the physical, right? And then what you were doing there, to the intellectual, how you just kept feeling a yearning to go deeper in your intellectual knowledge, and then hence your 3 degrees now, relational, the yearning to kind of get back home to family and those relationships, but also even how you learned about a personal relationship with yourself, and then with Stephanie as well. And then emotional, we talked about how your mom, some people would look at that situation and say, oh, all my mom gave me was a little closet. But instead, you flip that and you're like, wow, I was given an entire closet that was more than enough. And it was a safe place for me to be emotional and cry. And so tapped even into that emotional. And And so I was explaining how you have taught me the importance of just meditation and doing that spire check-in. And I wanted you to share that with the audience, what that looks like and how that grounds you and kind of sets you off for the day or week.
Yeah, so basically, what I do is I just took the actual Spire model and just made it into like a quick meditation. So it depends on what I have going on for the day. The first thing I do is I tap into the spiritual. Obviously, I see how I feel from the inside. And then what I do is I just go into the physical and I say, okay, what do I have going on today? How much energy do I need? How much energy can I give to people? Because that's one of my big problems is like I'm an empath, right? So I take a lot of energy in, and then I didn't realize that didn't belong to me. So it's like now I draw boundaries when it comes to my physical and my spiritual side. And then intellectually, I obviously I love reading books. I have so many books around me. It's something I didn't ever think that I would become a reader, but something happened during this master's degree program that with Will Durant and things like that I just fell in love with philosophy and just with understanding or trying to understand what wisdom is. And I would set time, even if it's like 10 minutes, if I can read something in 10 minutes, I'll read something and I'll apply it all throughout the day. Just to make my experience a little bit better. I cultivate, myself in that way. And then obviously relational, think about the people that I'm going to be around, I'm open to making new friends. I'm always saying hi to people. I'm always smiling and complimenting people now. And then just going into, the emotional, just really tapping into how I feel and but the biggest thing is how do I want to feel? And then I understand, like, sometimes I'm feeling a certain way, but I'm feeling that way because of something that I thought was a prior belief system that no longer works for me. So I try to just get rid of it because I'm not that person anymore. So just keep reinventing myself, with the Spire model. And, once you do it a couple times, it's very quick to do in your head, which is what I do pretty much every day.
Love it. Love it. That's amazing. And so easy to just take form. And I love how you said that you're reinventing yourself every day. Every day. So one way I know that you reinvented yourself and like you said, not who you are, but what you want to be, is your weight loss journey. Can you share that with us?
So weight is funny because I was a fit guy going into the Marine Corps. Well, I thought I was 234 pounds. I was, on the football team. I used to box. Went in the Marine Corps and got out 3 months later, 168 pounds. That's how much we worked out. Or I ate a lot less, I would say, probably in the Marine Corps. But throughout my whole transition after the Marine Corps, I just consumed my emotions. That's what I did. Eventually, I felt like so small, right? But for some reason, I had to make myself look big, right? So that energy just stayed on. Even though I was still being active, I just kept putting on weights. With my injury in my lungs in the Marine Corps, I was given prednisone from the VA, and I blew up. I went up to 308 pounds. That was my heaviest at one point. And I tried dieting. I tried going to the gym, didn't work out. I could never stick with it. And what I did was, just one day I was working out in my backyard. This is like 2022 before I moved to Florida. And, little by little, I kept losing weight and losing weight and losing weight. But then I was stuck at like 260. So at 260, I could not lose any more weight. And I saw myself while I was working out. I was looking at the sliding door of my house. I was in the backyard, but I saw myself, but it wasn't me. It wasn't my current me. It was It was a beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, like normal looking body, like it wasn't toned body or anything like that. Like I didn't care about that. What really got me was how happy I looked. And I closed my eyes and I could still see it. Right? And I had a conversation with myself that day, and I told my body, I said, look, I put you through hell, through all these years. I didn't know how important you were, to my existence. I didn't see myself as separate from the body. I just thought I'm this body and that's it, and I neglected it. So just having that conversation and just promising that, I'm going to do whatever I can to find what healthy looks like for me. I know health is not a number on a scale. I know it's not a certain, look or figure that I have to have. I've never been healthy. So I just want to really understand what that means. And after I did that, the weight just came right off, and right now, I'm 204 pounds. I was 196 during the master's degree program. I gained a little bit of weight, but still I look a little bit better. And I think because I'm still doing small exercises, not too much, I'm just holding like 10 pounds, as long as I can. And, just I listen to my body. I listen to what my body needs. There's some days that I can be cooking dinner and I'll just break out into a spontaneous yoga pose and I'll hold it. I feel something releasing in me and I feel so good. I sleep better because of it. And I think just listening to my body, just understanding that I am not this body, that I have a body, and just demanding more from my body just has to adapt to whatever it is that I say. So.
Wow. I am health. I am health. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So to go a little deeper in there, what are some other NBIs that you feel are kind of critical to you?
Journaling. Journaling is big to understand our thoughts, to understand how I think and why I think. And journaling allows a part of me that just is waiting and wants to come out, this authentic writer that's in me. And I just let it flow. I don't try to hold on to, what it is that I'm writing. I just stick with the feeling that I get while I'm writing. I get into that flow state, while I'm journaling. And even like if I'm doodling or drawing and stuff like that, it's the same, it's similar. I even get it when I'm playing with JoJo at times, I get into this flow state and I become a kid again. I feel like I'm another little kid playing with this kid. I don't feel like I'm his father sometimes. In a way, I heal my inner child, this kid that grew up, that everything was stacked against him, and I overcame everything. I don't know how. It's by the grace of God. I'm supposed to be here for some reason. And now I'm just trying to, give more of myself so that I can really do something great with this opportunity that's been given me. Because I'm not supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to be here, a couple of times, but yet I'm here. So, so that's one. Another one is just, just loving nature. I go outside in the mornings. I face northeast with the sun, and I cry at times, in my meditations. I send love to all you guys, to the people that I love, and I tell God, just use me for whatever it is that you need me for. Like, I'm here. Like, this is what I'm here to do. Just use me. And sometimes I'll pick up the phone and call people, have a conversation with them. It's just what they needed. So I just have to trust that, we're all being guided somehow. It's up to us if we want to accept the challenge or not. So yeah, those are some of the MBIs that, that I implement, and I'm still trying to learn, new stuff every day. So.
Awesome. I was, when you were saying, one thing about you, Jovannie, is you're just so open to try new things too, right? And it sounds like you're always, like you said, reinventing. And I remember you sharing a picture that Stephanie, I think, had shared with your next door neighbor, was like, just ignore my weird husband. And I think you were meditating in the rain. You were like, I just want to try it. Right?
Yeah. Every time it rains, I go outside, now I just take off my shirt. I'll sit outside in the rain, and yeah, and I don't see it as rain. I feel it as light coming through my body. So it's a different feeling for me. You know, like that picture you were talking about, I was laying on the ground, my arms open, just loving the rain, you know, just it was just me and the rain. That's it, you know. And yeah, I'm weird a little bit, but that's you know, we're only here for a short amount of time. Why not be weird in your own way? You know, you have to love yourself, however that looks like. So for me, it's finding new ways to connect with nature and doing things that other people seem to be weird. You know, I don't mind doing that. I'm all about building resilience and, you know, building new experiences that, you know, it may work for me and it may not work for me, but I at least want to try so that, you know, I can add it to my list of MBIs and I can do it wherever I am. Just to boost my spirit up a little bit, you know, if my, you know, emotional is down by a couple points and I want to raise it up and it's raining, guess what I'm doing? I'm going out in the rain. I'm having fun out in the rain. That's what I do. So
absolutely. Okay, so we've got Nellie in the audience that is dying to hear about your November 7th spiritual healing session that healed your neck injury. You can share that with us.
yeah, so when I was a federal police officer, I got an injury to my C6, C7, my neck. It happened in 2017. It's going to different doctors, chiros, all these things. I didn't want to get surgery. I knew that. Something inside of me said, don't get surgery, you're too young. And even though I was in pain, I was on medications. I did not want to take medication. So I stopped the medication. I dealt with the pain. I felt like the pain was telling me something, like I needed to be here in the present. You know, and that's the pain always brought me to the present moment. You know, I felt my thoughts going somewhere and I'd have pain and I'm like, okay, now I got to do something about this pain. I have to acknowledge it. So what happened November 7th is a couple days prior, I was sleeping on the couch, watching TV. I woke up to turn the TV off and Deborah Martin was on Beyond Belief. She's a spiritual medium and an intuitive healer. And she was talking about how she has like this free mini healing session, you know, that she does every first Tuesday of the month. And it just so happened like a couple days after was that Tuesday was the first Tuesday of the month. So I took it as a sign. I said, you know what, I'm going to attend her Zoom and see what happens. So right before the Zoom call, I was walking my dogs and I had a conversation with my spirit, I have a conversation with myself, just saying, look, I know I don't want the surgery. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna have to go against everything that I want to do and I have to get the surgery done. I can't continue living with this pain. I'm done with it. And then when I got to her session, we did the healing session, like the last 40 minutes of her Zoom call. And I went to this place. I can't tell you, like I was meditating. Everyone meditates on there. There were like 62 people or something like that, or 70 people on the call. And she's healed people before that had stage 4 cancer. You know, a little kid who the doctors didn't know if the kid was going to make it or not, and the kid was healed through her. She had 3 near-death experience. She met God, and this is her gift, right? Mm-hmm. So I went in there like I always do, not expecting anything. I just feel like if you go into anything with expectations, you're bound to get disappointed, right? So I'm all about going into the unknown. So I went in, was meditating, closed my eyes, focused on my third eye, and boom, I saw these doors open that said waiting room. I said I was in a hospital or something. As soon as I said that, she said, we have a spiritual surgeon here. Someone's about to get surgery. I'm about to get emotional. And I felt this like cold touch on my neck, right? And I just gave into it. And I said, okay, like you're here for me. Cool. And then right after that, she said, someone's probably going to feel like they're getting anesthesia or something like that. And as soon as she said that, I felt like this warm, hot honey, like pouring all down from my head down to my neck. And it just felt so good. And ever since that day, I had no neck pain. No, nothing. Can't explain it. You know, and I was featured on Gaia on Beyond Belief, in the episode 20 or season 24, episode 4, because of it. And I can tell you, like, it was just my faith in knowing, like, there is something out there that, you know, is in charge of our health, and it's not us. And when we give into it, it's gonna give us what we came for, right? So I did it with losing weight, and you know, with Deborah's help, I did it with healing my neck. And I'm just so grateful every single day because I wake up without pain anymore. I don't have to take pills. I can be the best, you know, father that I can be. I can be the best me that I can be every single day without, you know, having that pain attached to me.
Wow, Jovannie. Wow. So have you tried to explain that to doctors, and how'd they take it? What
They
happened?
don't know. They don't know. Their devices can't measure what's happening. You know, they can't measure consciousness, and I feel like God is consciousness. It's the only thing that is. And only consciousness knows consciousness. So, you know, we have to have an experience to know who we truly are. And once we tap into who we truly are, you know, it's limitless, you know, and it comes in stages, and I'm still learning every single day, and I'm still trying to tap into it. You know, and I just give myself that space of grace, you know, and I think that yeah, slowly, surely it's saving me little by little. So
Yeah. Wow, a big thing that you said there was removing expectations when you went in. And so you
yeah.
didn't come out this point, you didn't have any expectations, you totally removed them all, went in with a clean slate. And then also when you were talking about JoJo, you were talking about just how you can be so mindful. How can you help others to just get rid of all the noise, be mindful, as well as the noise of expectations, the noise of the busyness of our minds, and what we expect and what we want out of something, and just allowing the universe to just be.
I would say to get rid of the noise, just understand that you are the instrument making the noise, right? So if what you're playing is not tuned to what you want, then at any point you can learn how to tune yourself to the vibration where you want to be, you know. And sometimes that means going back and erasing everything, going back into stillness, right? Because in stillness is where all the action comes from. So, you know, once you just understand that all your thoughts, all this noise are things that you made, things that you've experienced, things that you know, probably didn't want to experience, but you still hold on to them, and they still become part of your experience, and they still determine your current, present, and your future, right? So the past is determining your future at that point, and you're not living in the present because you're constantly stressed out, you know, and sad about the past, or anxious about the future. You're never in the present moment. So just understanding that all there is now. Time is a construct that we all agreed on, so that we can learn something, right? And all it is the Earth, one revolution of the Earth around the revolution of the sun, and we divided it and created time. All there is eternity, and it's always here, and it's always now. And once you tap into it, you understand that what I'm saying makes sense, because right now it probably doesn't for a lot of people. And then once you continue, you know, through meditation, going within yourself, having, you know, first thing in the morning, just wake up and have the most important conversation with the most important person in the world, which is you. Understand that, you know, we give so much to other people. You know, we scroll through social media like endlessly, mindlessly, you know, trying to mimic other people's lives, and they're not even living their own lives. And if they are, they're probably not even authentically happy with it, because once all this material stuff goes away, then who are you, right? So once you operate from that space by just going within, just understanding that inside of this body is you, that you are not the body, right? And just understanding that allows you to really make sense of the noise, and to shut it off, and to make new noise, to sound, instead of like someone trying to play, you know, the recorder. You know, now you can playing the symphony now, so to say, and it takes time. You have to be patient with yourself, because look how long it took for you to build who you are today, right? So don't expect it to come instantly. Because again, if you expect it, you're going to get disappointed. So just do it because you authentically desire to know, what it feels like to not have the noise, or what it's like to have, to play something that's beautiful, something that, that vibrates equally with the universe, because inside of this body, we have all these molecules and all these solids, gases, and liquids flowing through us, and they're all moving violently inside of us, right? But understand that at any point, that all goes away. Once all that goes away and we return it to this earth, our spirit moves on, our spirit lives on, and it takes our highest experiences from this world. It takes the karma that we've acquired, or the karma that we balanced out, and we get a brand new existence, we get a brand new life, and we get to, try this again. But at some point you're going to say, I'm tired, enough is enough. I don't want to try this again, only if I want to. And, that takes a really deep conversation with your inner self to achieve that. And I think that's the body is our instrument. It's made to communicate with the creator, to communicate with God. That's why we're trying to find happiness, because that is our true home. And I think once you do that, you're going to understand more about yourself. And you're going to see yourself in a different light. You're going to see yourself that everything in life is interconnected, first of all, right? Physically, our breath is all interconnected. Just by me breathing, I'm breathing in air of people from the past, and people from the future are going to breathe in and breathe out the same exact air. Our mental, our thoughts are all interconnected too. We're not really so special. We're not special like we think we are, right? We're all the same thing, just having a different experience, trying to get back home in our own authentic way. So, our thoughts are affected, and we affect thoughts of other people by our actions, right? So if you want to choose better for yourself than doing nothing, non-action, by meditating, and you can meditate. I meditate all day long by washing dishes. I'll do laundry. I'll sweep them off the floor, playing with my son, or I'm journaling. I'm meditating all the time. I don't have to have a ritual per se where I have to sit down and actively meditate. Sometimes I do that because it's what I need at the time. But I just try to really bring God into my experiences. When I was eating, because 2 days this is my second day on my water fast. I had to listen to myself and say, you know what, God, come have this meal with me. Make this meal, rejuvenate my cells. Bring your light into the cells. And ever since I do that, like I don't gain as much weight as I used to before. I feel a lot healthier. I feel more vibrant, more rejuvenated. I have more vitality. And just understanding that that we're all just spirit trying to go back into the divine light, which is our home. That's it. We can go home and
It's so good, Jovannie. So good. Oh, okay. Are there any questions out there, Jasmine, from the audience? Because I can keep going. Say, oh, Jovannie. You back, Jovannie? No.
We cannot hear you yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Me and electronics don't get along anymore. I don't know why.
No, you are good.
There you
Jasmine,
go. All right.
Is there anything on Facebook?
Not yet. Everybody's still listening.
Okay, perfect. Just want to.
Everybody's like, don't be.
Yeah, if anybody wants to put anything in the chat, we can go into then. So going even a little deeper on that, Jovannie, I know you speak of the Tao, DOW, Divine One Within. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, this is it's who we are. We have this divinity inside of us. Science tells us that all matter is made of energy. Obviously, this body is made of matter, but what runs the body is the light. It's the only. It comes from the only energy source, the one creator, right? So, we were given free will here to choose, basically, to identify with either our body or our soul. That's our God-given free will. And I once identified with the body. Now I identify with the soul, and because of that, I choose better for myself. I choose to have better experiences. I choose to think better thoughts, and I'm becoming better and better because of it. Yeah, and once you tap into that source that you are, you realize that even though our time here is limited, there's a unlimitedness about us. Right? And even though this experience that we're having is fleeting, and it's finite, there's an infinite part of us, which is our soul, that is always going to continue. It always has. And once you understand that, you start to take your barriers down a little bit. You don't take yourself as seriously as you used to before. You can get to have more fun today, because you know that today is all you have in this experience, right? Any point, it can go away. I know everybody here, I don't want to really bring politics in here, but you saw what happened to President Trump, that his life was almost taken had he not looked a certain way. That's divine intervention. If you're made to be here for some reason, God's going to intervene, and he helps those who help themselves. And it starts with us. We have to want to help ourselves. We all want to go see therapists and things like that, but they can help you to a certain extent. Most of the time they want to give you medication, right? But know that medication, herbs, medication came from herbs, right? It's just a synthetic form of herbs. And knowing how to put the herbs together took the mental, took someone's mind to put that together. And just knowing that God is all knowing, all mind, that's how we can heal ourselves, truly, by knowing who you are inside, and then declaring it in your experience, and living by it, with everything that you do. So that's the divine one within, and we each have it, the same exact thing.
Love it, Jovannie. I'm gonna go even more practical. You've shared experiences of what you use on a daily basis when you're about to drive into traffic. What's something can you share that? To me, that is just something just so simple, and we can use in every day. But I'll let you explain it.
You want me to talk about the traffic?
Yeah, just your mindset before you go in.
So my mindset is, I already know that the world outside is chaos, right? And when I'm going to get in the car, anything can happen. I'm always going to be in traffic. There's always going to be traffic. We know that. We like to think, oh, I'm going to get in the car, there's going to be no traffic. But again, that's an expectation, and you're going to be disappointed, right? So just knowing that there's going to be traffic, but knowing that, you flow through traffic makes it seem like there's no traffic at all. And that's what happens to me all the time. And then sometimes when I'm driving, now most of the time, I protect myself before going in. Quick spire check-in, and I say I'm divinely protected wherever I go. And there's always at least 4 or 5 cars on the highway in front of me, behind me, no one next to me. And then the cars that are surrounding me are always white cars now. I see it all the time. And I can't explain it, but I always point it out, to my wife, Stephanie. I take pictures of it because to me, it's a way for me to see how miraculous life really is. That when you really declare something and you mean it, and you start to communicate with the divine one within, you don't really have to pray anymore. Now you have like direct communication, and it's going to give you what you want to experience, because now you're focusing on the things you do want to experience, where the old you was focusing on the things that you don't want to experience, and you kept getting that. So, there's a thing, that I read, what you think about, you bring about, and 100% true. Just changing the way that you think is going to change your experiences. So it's, changing how you see things is going to change the way you see things, and change those things that you see. They're going to become more aligned with what you do really want from a soul level. Not a body or a hedonistic pleasure level, but a deeper, loving, compassionate, soul level.
Love it. It reminds me of Tao's famous quote, appreciate the good and the good appreciates.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So speaking of quotes, there's a few of yours just recently, I think in the last few months, but from class, I have so many quotes written down in my OneNote, but some of yours that I found myself repeating or paraphrasing and sharing with others. The first is, nothing happens to you, it happens for you. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, everything. This whole existence is for us. I mean, we're here to learn, to become our authentic selves. You know, we're not a victim to anything. You know, we're only a victim to our own mentality. You know, when you start to really understand how powerful your mind is, and how it works, and you can use it to your benefit, you understand that nothing happens to you, because nothing here is against you. We like to think that, you know, there's a lot of hate and fear and all this bad stuff happening in this world, but you take all the humans out of it, and there's nothing but love. You know, the earth sustains itself. You know, the only thing that separates us as humans is our thoughts. If all of our thoughts were connected, we'd all deep down want the same thing. We just don't know how to say it, and we don't know how to go about it. That's the whole thing. So everything is happening for us, either to learn something or because we earned it somehow. So, you know, you have to understand that that whole victim mentality thing has to go away when you're dealing with the spirit, because the spirit is not a victim. It's quite the opposite. It's the victor in inside of us. You know, it's the reason why we want to become perfection. You know, we have this idea of like perfectionism that we must attain, but we're already perfect. Our soul's already perfect. There's no way that through this experience our body can become perfect, you know, and just knowing that through meditation, through that practice is never going to be perfect, but that practice can you can become perfected through that process in your thoughts, in how you think. Yeah, so that's where that comes from.
Awesome. Nellie said, this reminds her of the quote from Wayne Dyer, of if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Who was,
Yeah.
you know, who wrote the Power of Intentions and
Yes.
really quoted a lot of Lao Tzu.
And
Yeah.
you know, what I'm finding too is when you read a lot of philosophy too, all these different philosophers, you know, all of them, they all pretty much say the same exact thing in their own contemporary language. And there's a reason for that, because there's truth behind it. So when you go out to seek truth, just know that you're not asking to be right, right? So truth is going to be what it is. It's absolute. And it's up to us to just make sense of it, and then to just keep saying what the truth is for us, so that other people can take that and use it in their experiences. That's all we're here for, is to help each other.
That is so good. Speaking of philosophers, who is your favorite?
Will Durant, obviously. Well, I won't say obviously, but because people don't know, but yeah, Will Durant. I fell in love with Will Durant. I want to say it was probably what was it? GHS 502. Was it Integrated Leaders? I think it was. I think it was the first. The first week one was history. It was the history week. We had to read Will Durant, and yeah, he just how simplistic his philosophy is. You know, he was talking about the past. He said the present is merely the past, rolled up and concentrated in this second of time, right? And then he said that you two, what did he say? You two are your past. He said, what was it? Often your face is your autobiography. Um, you are what you are what you are because of what you have been, right? So knowing that, you can change at any point in time, and that's what wisdom is all about. Wisdom is just all about, it's just understanding, basically, that it's a total perspective of yourself interconnected with your experiences, you know. And if you don't like who you are and you don't like your experiences, you change yourself first, and then your experiences will change accordingly.
Oh, love that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Will Durant as well. Really helped me to understand the power of history, because I always looked at it as I'm not interested in. And I think I wrote in one of my papers that just watching his videos, I feel like I'm grandchild that's sitting on the floor just in awe, listening to just the wisdom pour out and the love, and especially I just loved the way just his marriage between him and his wife. I think it is.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me, absolutely. She had said that because she liked to go off on her own, right? Ariel,
Ariel,
she was
yeah.
she was crazy. Like he was more conservative. You know, he had picked her up, and you know, she'd like to go on her own adventures, and she said that she'll come back and meet people and then introduce that personality. She'll bring that personality back to Will and whatever he was reading and writing, and that's how they made sense of history. And you know, she said that and I loved how she thanked them too for like the life that they had, that what they lived together by learning. They wrote, you know, the 11 books together, and I have every single book. I have the whole collection of the stories of civilization. Um, you know, and I fell in love with how they loved each other. You know, even though he was like 13 years her senior, you know, you can tell like they were meant to be together, and it was at a soul level. I mean, they came here with a mission, and they fulfilled their mission.
Oh, that is so good. So good. Yeah. Okay, give me another philosopher that you relate well to.
Oh, another one. Epicurus. Epicurus taught me basically how to create happy retreat spaces, which I do in my mind using my, you know, my meditations. I create this retreat space that wherever I go, I can go into that space. Obviously, you know, you have to have a physical space too. I learned that with Ben and his friend Long that I just met a couple like I want to say like last week, because all my retreat spaces were in my mentality, which I used when I was in the hospital. As you know, I had spontaneous blood clots in my shoulder on May 8th, you know, a week after we graduated. I was in the hospital for 8 days. But in the hospital, I didn't identify with my body. I was in such a peaceful state. You know, I was overlooking the water, and I would eat my meals, thinking I'm in different places. Um, you know, and it just that it was so important, I think, for me to use that retreat space that I made in my head, that it helped me. So much happened during that week that I felt like there was so much divinity, so much. An angel, if Veronica's here, she could tell you. An angel came into my room one day asking about the time, you know, fix my clock. My clock was off in the bedroom. Literally 1 minute later, another lady, a lady came in to take my vitals. And I said, "What happened to the guy that just left?" And she's like, "Who?" She's like, "I've been standing outside. No one entered this room." And literally 2 minutes after, I had this spontaneous thing happen with my body where um, I was supposed to be going home. Instead, I stayed an extra day because my heart rate went up. You know, my vitals were going crazy. The doctors couldn't understand why, and they kept asking me, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "I feel at peace. Like I'm good. Nothing's wrong with me." But for some reason, my body was going crazy, and I feel like I don't know. It was something happened to me that I can't explain, but I welcomed it because it felt good, and it felt like my soul needed it. So um, Epicurus was important to me. Margaret Wheatley, just understanding systems thinking, understanding that the body's a whole system. So when you understand yourself as a system, you get to implement your own systems. You know, you get to use your own laws to remake yourself. Who else? Emily Chatelet. She taught me basically how to increase my level of happiness by being authentic. Emerson, Emerson on living authentically, like from within, like from your soul. I thought was very important. Even like Confucius, like you mentioned, Confucius. He talks about like social harmony, in how to cultivate like personal virtues, and that's kind of helped me too, to really understand like who I want to be and what I need to do now to get there. Like, you know, my highest self is a person who has a lot of knowledge that comes from book and experiences. And in order for me to do that, I knew like I had to start reading books. So I just started going into books and digesting books, and then going out and applying those books so that I can have those experiences. And you know, that's even Terrell Trent with Ubuntu, you know, was important, you know, to understand the interconnectedness of everything, you know, to have like the 10 qualities of Ubuntu, which is like, you know, compassion, deep kindness, friendliness, you know, things like that, gentleness, hospitality. So yeah, just learning from all of these philosophers, and even like, you know, I have here Marva Collins about education is teaching me how to educate my own son at home, and you know, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job with him too. So yeah, just taking these bits of wisdoms from everyone and applying it to your life and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and understanding why it doesn't work, and then making it work. Yeah, that's it.
So good. So good. So Nellie wrote on here that she can see Epictetus says philosophy in you. He is a man of sense who does not grieve for what he has not, but rejoices in what he has. And I have to 100% agree with you, Nellie, as well. And then Nellie also asked, what are other ways that we can connect with Jovannie? So Nellie, just so you know too, we're on if WhatsApp, we can always Jovannie is one of those people, and I'll let Jovannie speak for himself, but he's one of those people that he's always like, hey, if you want to have a one-on-one, this, that, I personally reach him on WhatsApp on a private PM, and then he's always online as well. But Jovannie, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm very open, you know, with my time. I don't see myself as spending time. I invest my time. My whole mentality is I'm done with, you know, the whole working in exchange for my time. Now, even though I don't have a job now, I mean, I have a pretty important job, which is, you know, raising my son to an extent where, you know, he doesn't have to heal from his childhood. That's my only job right now. But you know, once I do go back into the workforce, I'm going to get paid for my experience and not for my time. So right now, I'm very generous with my time because it's all we have, and we have to share it. So I am on. I do some calls with Jasmine and Ben during the week too. Usually on Wednesdays and Saturdays whenever I can. Sometimes on Thursdays. It all depends on what I have going on as well. But yeah, you reach me on WhatsApp. I'm pretty much open, so I'll make time.
Awesome. And to close out, Jovannie, can you explain your journey with this master's degree? What led you there, what you've gotten from it, and how you're still on it?
I mean, a lot of grief or a lot of sorrow in my life, a lot of violence in my life. You know, training with the Marines and becoming a federal police officer. Like I was living a life that I didn't feel comfortable in. Right. I was really good at fighting. I always fought. Growing up, I fought for what I believed in. You know, I always fought for people who couldn't fight for themselves. And I got to a point where I just got tired of it. I just wanted to know something better. So after getting my MBA in May of 2022, you know, I was watching the news, and someone was talking about, you know, the world's first master's degree in happiness studies. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I was the first one in my family to go to the military. I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's, first one to get a master's degree. I might as well be the first one to do this too. And, you know, I pulled it off for a little bit, and, you know, this thing inside of me, this subtle nudge kept nudging me and saying, no, you need to do this. Understand what happiness is. So I said, okay. I applied for it. I just said, I'll apply for it and see what happens. You know, I got accepted, and I didn't know really what to expect from it, which is basis of awesomeness, I think, for life. Just going into the unknown and seeing what you make of it, you know. and it's the best experience that, you know, I've ever had. I would say, you know, I have a bachelor's in psychology. I have an MBA, but I really earned this master's degree because I applied every single thing to myself. Um, from the dieting, you know, with Andrew Whale, I applied everything to the T to myself to really understand what this information means for me so that I can help other people, not just by reading stuff, but from my experience with it as well. And I think that's the biggest thing with this journey is just understanding that happiness is fluid. Happiness is what we make of it. Happiness is a state of mind. It takes for us to really think about happiness without the material. So from the immaterial sense, that's how you keep your happiness, and no one can take that away from you. Just like, you know, you can be wealthy, your wealth can be taken away, but you can be abundant, you can be prosperous, and those are qualities that cannot be taken from you. And happiness is one of those qualities that is our God-given right, to pursue the happiness. And, you know, I took that call and I pursued it, and I'm still pursuing it every single day. And it's the basis of my being. I really want to stay in this state of happiness, you know, because things could be going chaotic outside of me, but I'm always grounded. You know, I make better decisions this way. I love this person that I've created. We've all created ourselves, you know, but do you really love the person that you created? You know, you have to really answer these deep questions within. And once you answer these questions, you can use, you know, Wheatley's systems thinking to build yourself back up, to build yourself the way that you think your highest self would like for you to build yourself up right now with what you're given in front of you, not what's in the future, not because of the past, but what's here right now for me. And once you do that, you can experience your authentic happiness in any moment of your life, you know, and that's the most beautiful thing. And using the Spire to really gauge your level of happiness, you know, the Spire model is great for that. If you really use it, you know, keep it in your back pocket and use it wherever. If you're feeling down, go through the Spire check-in real quick in your mind and do something, even though it might feel weird. Listen to what your soul is telling you, because it's trying to come out, and the only way it can come out is for you to be authentically happy, right? So it may seem weird. I don't care if you're, you know, riding a bus and you feel like singing, sing out loud. People won't think you're crazy anyways, right? You might as well do it for a reason. So
Love it. When
yeah.
I'm
Plus,
listening. Oh.
plus the biggest thing is the friends that I made. You know, all you guys really. You guys are like my family, and if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know where this journey would take me, because I couldn't talk like this with people in my life. You know, I couldn't have these deep conversations, and they helped me make meaning of it. So you guys helped me, you know, understand myself. When I'm given a platform to speak, I'm learning more about my thoughts, you know, about what I write in my journal, and really the impact that you guys have made in my life is making me want to do the same thing to other people. So I really appreciate you guys for taking this journey with me and for continuing the journey. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yes, Jovannie. I mean, the unity and the like-mindedness, and I'd have to say that is, to me, the greatest journey. What would you say to someone who is on the fence of knowing if this journey is for them, or this program?
Happiness is for everybody. The reason why we get up in the morning, the reason why we have family, the reason why, you know, we get dressed, the reason why you go to work, is to gain some level of happiness in your life, either with your time or your funds or whatever it is, right? Your experiences. We're all here to really be happy, truly, you know. And I think I've done that, and I've continued doing that by having good relationships with people. But the best relationship you can have is with yourself. The most important relationship you can have with yourself. And if you don't like any aspect of yourself, okay, if you can't go outside without makeup, for instance, right? Sometimes I don't even care how I look. Sometimes I'll just put on a hat, I'll wear some raggedy clothes and go outside, and I feel so good, right? Because I'm not impressing anyone.
Mm.
You know, I'm just loving my soul wherever I go. Because these things that we wear, these things that we see, everything is so transitory, right? They're not going to be here in 100 years, so who cares about that, right? What impact are you gonna leave behind? You know, what is your work doing for you now? What is your legacy going to be? You know, in a couple of years when the body's no longer here. You know, what do you want to leave to your family? You know, you want to leave them memories, because that's where we go when we leave here. We just go back to source, and there's an all-knowing mind where memories are everything. You know, they're part of the past, and once you experience them, they become, you know, the present in any moment. You know, and I've lost an uncle, and I talk to him all the time as if he's here, and I swear I get answers all the time. You know, from him. So I know for sure that that we go to a place where we still exist without a body until it's our time to come back into a body. And happiness is the way there. And once you really tap into your own authentic happiness, where no one could take that from you, that's yours forever. Not just in this lifetime, but forever, eternal.
Oh, that's so good. So good, Jovannie. So good. When you're talking, the two words that keep coming up in my mind is humility and confidence. And those are two words that usually don't run parallel to each other. And you are able to exemplify both of those with just in a way that we all are in awe of. And you're such a great example. For all of us, just for humanity in general. One last question I got for you, and then I'm passing the mic back over to Jasmine. You have, Jovannie, I'm just, you know, I've known you now for almost 2 years. Every time I speak to you, I am just so grateful, like I am with almost every one of our fellow journeyers on this journey. But and like you said, it's very easy to just be comfortable and transparent and naked with one another, right?
Yeah.
And pull off the face shield of, you know, the mask of not being too weird, right? But how do you juggle or balance or even control the urge to just want to share this transformations with the ones you love or your nears and dears that are not quite there yet?
I've been learning that it's been hard, because like part of me just wants to like you throw everything out there, but you know, you got to understand. And I came to this realization by talking to Ben one day, that I see it like you know, if there's a room full of darkness, right, and you know that you are light, but when you enter that room, the darkness goes away, right? Some people can't handle all that, so just by building up a dimmer switch inside of you, you can adjust your light, and you can meet people where they are, you know. And when you do that, they're more susceptible to whatever it is that you're trying to do with them, you know. So yeah, just not going in there guns a-blazing. You know, I used to do that a lot. I learned from it, and you know, it's an experience that, you know, I'm still learning, you know, to do. And once you do it, it feels good to do it, you know, to bring light into any room, no matter what degree of that light is. You know, a light is a light. And some people, you know, my light was dimmed before, where I thought I wasn't even gonna make it, and I still had a little small spark, and that spark never goes away. And sometimes it takes conversations with other people to just, you know, they turn that dimmer switch up in you. You know, for you guys have done that with me. And all I can hope to do in return is to do the same, you know, with you guys and to whoever I communicate with. And, you know, even if I see people, you know, if I go to the VA hospital and I'm in the elevator or something like that, I ask them, do you guys meditate? You know, I put these, you know, seeds, I drop these seeds, you know, and saying it's the best thing that's ever happened to me. You guys should try it. And that's it. You know, that's all you need to do. Yeah. So you don't have to do too much. You just have to meet people where they are, and that's it. You know?
So good, Jovannie. When I think of great leaders, Jesus, Gandhi, Buddha, all the great philosophers, they all say the same thing: meet people where they are, right? Not trying to force people, not trying to convince, but allowing people. And you've constantly had that message all throughout this interview, is just whether it's giving yourself grace, others, allowing time. You know, you talked about that in your weight loss journey. You know, taking the expectation. So great advice. I will take that on myself. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for giving me this time. It has been an absolute honor and pleasure.
I appreciate you for interviewing me, and I want to leave you guys with a quote that I wrote in my journal. I know I said it before, but you know, you guys have to find truth wherever you are. You know, truth is everywhere. What we see outside is all illusions, but there's truth within that illusions. And you know, I wrote that truth is the dialect of the soul, whose only language is love. You know, and once you understand that, you can start having a conversation with the divine one within. So.
Love it. Yep, I have that one down, but I'm writing it again so I can remind her. Jasmine, over to you. Thank you again, Jojo.
Thank you so much, Chanel, for interviewing me, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Jovannie. I feel like I am actually in a, you know, like in a professional recording, you know, like Zoom call and podcast, having two of you here. I feel very special, actually, you know, got to listen to Chanel hosting the show. I learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. You can like guide me to being a better, you know, host. And you make it very flawlessly, because everything you ask, it clicked. You know, it's kind of like jump from this question to another question, but everything is clicked. And thank you to Jovannie, always, because you always, you know, like I love how you say that every one of us is the light, and we can dim or like open our light depend on how like who we talk to. That just suddenly give me another enlightenment moment. I feel like, okay, we can be a light, but now we can upgrade ourselves to an LED light, you know, a fancier light. And we can always dimmer our light if we need to, or turn it as bright as we want. And that's so powerful. Because otherwise people was like, why you want to be happy, you know, like, and why you want to be happier? Obviously we are happy, but we can always make ourselves happier because we are capable of doing that. So, and again, thank you to our audience today. You know, without all of you, we won't have the Zoom. And without Jovannie and Chanel, we won't have the Zoom either. So all of us are very important. Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys for all the comments and questions. I didn't get to respond to what you guys wrote, but I really appreciate you guys, and thank you for being here, for being part of this happiness revolution. Seriously.
Thank you so much. And next week we will have our lovely Teresa will be here with us. So please join Teresa next week, because she have a lot to share with us as well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Same time next week for Teresa. Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
And have a beautiful morning, everybody who live in another country. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.